Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Board Student IRL, and today we are doing a mod review and we are looking at Farmer's Delight today. Now, Farmer's Delight is a mod that adds a bunch of cool, awesome food recipes into the game and a couple other really nifty little utility items and that kind of stuff, but it's mostly a very nifty little food mod. And I am going to go over it in its entirety. This is a mod that is for 1.16, which is a very important thing to remember, and the mod author does not want to port to earlier versions, that kind of stuff. It is strictly a 1.16 mod. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do in the mod is you are going to want to craft a knife. Now, there is a knife for pretty much every vanilla or plus flint knife as well, and flint knife of course you can make very early game. Now, knives are used for a couple of different things. They're used for some harvesting things, which we'll look at for a second, and they're used for cutting some other things, which we'll look at in a second too. One important thing to note about knives though is that they do have a custom enchant. They can be enchanted like any other tool, but they also have custom enchants, which is backstabbing, which basically means that if you attack anything from behind, you get a bunch more damage. You can see right there, it's on the tooltip, it amplifies damage while striking a target from behind. So very cool. But so you can start off the mod by crafting a flint knife, and the great thing about flint knives are, if you kill an animal with them, it will guaranteed give you the secondary drops from the animal. So for example, if we kill this cow right here, we get both leather and beef. Or if we kill the sheep, we get wool and a mutton chop. If we kill a chicken, we will get raw chicken and feathers. And now for the pigs, you will get pork chops, and you will also get, see what's in here, yep, you get ham as well. And now ham is a special food item from Farmer's Delight, and you can cook that as well, and it gives you more hunger restored and that kind of stuff. So very neat, and we'll look at it later down the line. But so that is what it can do for animals, and then this will work on, this next thing works on wheat, works on tall grass and other plants of that nature. And if you right click on them, it'll give you the regular drops. Plus, it'll also give you straw. Now, straw is one of the first crafting items in the mod. You can, of course, compress it into straw bales, just like hay bales. You can make these tatami blocks, or a decoration block, and you can use that to make the full tatami mat or the half tatami mat. It's just basically like a little carpet decoration type block. But there's some useful things that you can use, some like utility items that you can use straw to make. The first one that we're going to look at is rope. Now, rope is very useful early game, because basically what happens is it acts like a ladder, first of all, but second of all, if you right click on it with more in your hand, it'll extend it down pretty much as far as how much rope you have in your hand. And this is super useful for going into caves and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's very useful like that. However, there's a little Easter egg that I'm going to show you with the rope as well, which is if you put a bell at the top of the rope and you go to the bottom with an empty hand and you right click, it'll ring the bell just like that. Very nifty little trick like that. So yeah, rope, very useful item. The next thing you can make with straw is these safety nets down here. You can see down there. Now, safety nets are basically a fall breaking thing, and if you land on them from any height, it'll completely break the fall damage, and there will be no fall damage taken whatsoever. And they also bounce you a little bit too when you land them. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Very useful little block. Now, the final thing you can use straw for is you can make leads. Now, of course, in vanilla, like, leads are a little difficult to get, but this mod makes them very easy to get, and you can see our little horsey right here is tied with a lead. So yeah, very cool. That's straw, and that's basically all that you use the knife for early game. Let's move on to some other important early game tips. Now, the next thing to know early game is to know your plants. Now, you can see there's 6 different plants in front of us right here, And we have the wild cabbage, the wild onions, the wild carrots, wild potatoes, wild rice, and seed beets. Now 3 of these are completely unique to the mod: the cabbage, the onions, and the rice. And you can see the rice can only grow in blocks of water like that. And then the other ones, wild carrots, wild potatoes, and seed beets, while the wild variants are unique to the mod, they will give you the vanilla version. So this gives you beetroots right here, and this will give you potatoes, and that'll give you carrots. So it's very nice because usually you have to go to a village to get carrots and potatoes and beetroots, or you have to basically trade with one of the villagers to get one of them, but this makes them very easy to get. And now behind them right here, we can see that these blocks right here are similar to the straw bale or hay bales. It's basically condensed versions of the plant of the plant fruit or whatever. So cabbage crate is compressed cabbage, like nine in a grid, gives you that, and you can uncompress it too. It'll give you 9 cabbage if you put this in the crafting grid. Onion crate, carrot crate, potato crate, rice bale. Now rice has 2 different ones because the raw material that you get from wild rice is not the final processed version of rice. It is a plant in and of itself, and you can compress the plant down into rice bales, but then you can also craft the plant into rice, and then the rice you can also craft into a bag of rice. And then finally over here we have the beetroot crate. So these are our wild plants. Now let's go take a look and see what they look like over here. These are the farmed versions of them. You can see right here in the corner we have cabbage, tomatoes, and onion, beetroot, rice, and carrot. Now, first of all, let's talk about the rice. So when you're farming rice, it has to be planted in water, and what you actually plant is the processed version of the rice. You don't plant the unprocessed version. You have to plant the processed version, but you have to have a dirt block at the bottom of the water block. You basically right click on the dirt block at the bottom and you'll get your rice plant. You can see back here, this is what we use for the other ones. So rice right there, just regular carrots, and then your regular beetroot seeds. And then for the onion, there's an unprocessed and processed version of the onion as well, and you have to plant the unprocessed version. And then there are tomato seeds and there are cabbage seeds. Now you can get seeds from breaking the wild variants too. They have the chance to give you at least one of these. So it'll give you, like, for these ones right here, it's guaranteed to give you the onion, it's guaranteed to give you rice. But for the other ones, for tomato seeds, it'll give you at least one. Cabbage seeds will give you at least one. Beetroot seeds will give you at least one, and so on. So that is basically all of the plants in their raw form. Let's go take a look at actually doing some cooking. All right, now over here, you can see that we have a bunch of different cooking pots. Now the cooking pot is one of the cornerstones of the mod because it allows you to actually make a lot of the dishes in the mod. Now the cooking pot is can be placed over a bunch of different types of heat sources. You can see, first of all, over here we have a campfire, and then over here we have just a lit block with another rack over there on fire. And I'll put it puts those nice little support frames down too when you place it over it, which is really cool. And then over here we have lava, and you can see that it makes itself a little grate as well. And then finally over here we have the stove, which is a Farmer's Delight block, and it's basically just a campfire in a different crafting recipe. And you don't have to put anything in this or anything like that. It'll just constantly burn, and you put the cooking pot over it. Now, if we want to take a look inside here, this is where you put the raw items to make any of these recipes above. And basically the way that the cooking pot works is when it makes the recipe, it'll just store one serving of the recipe inside the cooking pot, and it'll store it right in here. And then if you want to get it out, you either have to have a bowl that you put right here, and if you put the bowl right here, it'll automatically ladle a portion of it into your bowl. Or if you're outside of the block and you just right click on it with a bowl, it'll automatically put a portion into your bowl. And one more important thing to note is that if you break a cooking pot with contents inside of it, it will keep the contents inside of it. So, and it can store up to 64 servings of a dish. So it's this is basically the cornerstone of the mod, and it's very easy to use. And of course, like, might be useful to have just enough items along with this so you can see the recipes and that kind of stuff. But it'll also basically it'll start processing if you have the right materials in there. Now, I'm not going to go over the crafting recipes, but what I am going to go over is all of the different recipes that you can make in the cooking pot. And you can see behind here I have them on the wall. So we'll start over here. You can make dumplings, you can cooked rice, beef stew, chicken soup, vegetable soup, fish stew, fried rice, pumpkin soup, baked cod stew, pasta with meatballs, pasta with mutton chop, vegetable noodles, steak and potatoes, shepherd's pie, ratatouille, which I kind of love that, squid ink pasta, grilled salmon, and then these last three are a little bit more important than the rest of them. So obviously with most, if not all of these, they restore a great deal of hunger and saturation. But these last three do some special stuff. Now, this right here is dog food, and if you feed this to your dogs, let's go take a look at it in JEI. It'll actually give the dog speed, strength, and resistance. So it's basically like a little buff to your dogs. So you can basically have superpowered dogs around you. And then over here we have horse feed, which is similar. It'll give you a buff to your horses, and you can see the buffs right here are speed boost 2 and jump boost, so your horse will jump higher and run faster for 5 minutes. So very useful. And then finally over here we have hot cocoa, and now you wouldn't think that hot cocoa is anything special, but it actually is. What's really nice about hot cocoa is it will remove one negative potion effect from you, and it'll ignore all the good ones. So it's very, very nice if you're out adventuring and you've got a bunch of potion effects on you, or if you're, let's say, in the wither fight and you want to get rid of the wither effect, you can just drink one of these and it'll take that away, rather than taking one of your good ones away if you just drink milk. So yeah, so those are all the cooking pot recipes covered right there. So let's move on to some other food crafting. All right, now over here we have the cutting board. Now the cutting board is another crafting block in the mod, and basically you use it to cut items into a bunch of different crafting things, or for some of the items that we'll see on the end, you can cut them into portions. Now let's run down how you cut. First of all you have to do is right click on the cutting board with the item on the cutting board, just like that, and you'll get the item. Now the first one you can see right here is we cut a pork chop, and we got 2 raw bacon, and I've displayed it behind here too. And let's run down all of the different items that you can put on the cutting board and get little crafting ingredients from. So we've got raw beef right here, and you get minced beef over there, raw chicken and raw chicken cuts, raw cod and raw cod slice, raw salmon and a raw salmon slice. Now you can cook all of these as well. You can cut pumpkins into pumpkin slices. You can cut cabbages into cabbage leaves. And then over here are the portions, basically a cake and 3 different pies. What's annoying, of course, about vanilla cake is that you have to place it down to eat it, but this makes it easier to carry the cake around, because you can see if we cut it, then we get cake. You can see it's 7 slices of cake that you get from it. Of course, 1 slice of cake doesn't give as much as the entire cake, but makes sense, right? And then over here we have pies. Now these are all pies added by the mod, and we have an apple pie, a sweet berry cheesecake, and a chocolate pie. And if you remember, sweet berries are a item added by Vanilla Minecraft. But if you cut these, it will give you 4 portions of them. You can see right here, I was already cutting some of them earlier, but yes, there you get 4 slices of pie. And same for these ones right here. So that's basically it for the cutting board. It's good for portioning out some items, and good for making some crafting recipe, / you can eat all of these as well if they're I wouldn't recommend it if they're raw, and you should eat the cooked versions, but you can eat the raw versions too if in a pinch. But yeah, so that's the cutting board. Let's move on to a few more of the food items in the mod. All right, now over here we have the items that can be put into a furnace and smelted up. So of course you can put all the cut versions of stuff in the furnace and cook them, and there's a cooked version of them, and you can see by example on the side here we have the cooked bacon and the beef patty, but you can also cook an egg in furnaces and it'll give you the fried egg. And then of course you remember the ham that we got from our boy the pig back there with the knife, and you can cook the ham and get smoked ham. It's a little short thing, but I just wanted to make sure that people knew that you could do that. And then finally, for the food stuff, we're gonna take a look over here at the rest of the food items that you can craft. Now, of course, we have the pies over here, like we went over there. We also have a sweet berry cookie, a honey cookie, a mixed salad, nether salad. There's a fruit salad too, a fruit variant of it too. Barbecue on a stick, an egg sandwich, chicken sandwich, hamburger, stuffed potato, bacon sandwich, and then roast chicken and honey glazed ham are actually special because you can place these down and you can use a bowl on them and it'll give you a portion of it. Let's see if we can, let me do a demonstration with the roast chicken. Let's get the roast chicken out. And you can see right here, you can see the portions, the plate of roast chicken, but I want to demonstrate it as well. So let's get a bowl out and we should be able to place this down. Yep, just like that. And if we use the bowl on it, you can see that it cuts part of it off and gives you a portion. Very nice. And then it leaves the bones right there and you can break that. So yeah, and you can do the same thing with the honey glazed ham. And then finally you can make a milk bottle, which is a smaller portion of a bucket of milk basically. And then finally you can make a little melon popsicle. That basically covers all of the food in the mod. But wait, there's one more part of the mod, which is over here. Let's take a look at it. So it's already gone away, but basically there is a way to get richer soil. Here you can see it's called rich soil, and you can till it and get rich soil farmland. And now the special part about this is that you actually don't need water to grow crops when you have this. So you can just put this down. You don't have to put a bucket of water in the middle of it. It'll just keep itself moist and you can grow your crops on it. And it'll also grow your crops faster too. Now, how do you make this? Well, you need to get compost right here. You can get organic compost. And now part of the crafting recipe for organic compost is actually a small extension of the cutting board. So you can see we have all 8 different types of vanilla wood on cutting boards over here. And if you get an axe, like so, and right click on it, it'll give you bark, tree bark right there, and the stripped version of it, which of course in vanilla you can just right click the log and it'll make the stripped version. But tree bark is used in the crafting recipe solely for the organic compost right here. Just like that. And you can see it starts off like that, and it'll basically decay over time into the rich soil. And then you can till it and get the rich soil farmland. Now, there's a couple of ways to speed up the process of organic compost. So first of all, just placing organic compost next to each other will speed up the process. But there's a couple of items that can also speed up the process. So first of all, brown mushrooms can speed up the process right here. If you just plant them on top of them, all this is already turned into rich soil, but of course, it started out as organic compost. So you can put the mushrooms down there. You can put both types of mushrooms on there. It'll help it grow faster. You can also, these are mushroom colonies over here. This is another item added by this mod. And basically, you can find these in caves as well. The mushrooms and the mushroom colonies will be found in caves as well. So you can see there's both types here. And then a couple more, you can use podzol and it'll also grow it faster, and you can also use mycelium and it'll grow it faster. And then of course over here, what I meant to demonstrate right here is that putting organic compost next to each other will also help it grow faster. But yeah, that is basically all of the different ways to speed up the composting for the organic compost. This is a very important block to have because you'll obviously be doing a lot of different types of growing if you really want to get into this mod, and you'll want yourself a nice, quick, fast way to farm them and farm them efficiently. And finally, over here, you can see, to round the mod off, we have these cool little pantries. And you can make these pantries with any wood in the game, and if you click on them, they just have a regular storage space as a chest, but they're a nice little decorative block. You can see the doors open and close on the front, and they're very nice. You can make yourself a nice little kitchen out of these and the cutting boards and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that just about wraps up this mod. But anyways, that'll do it for this mod review. This has been your boy Bored Student IRL. I hope you liked the video, and like and subscribe if you did for more mod reviews and more episodes of Enigmatica 6 and possibly more mod packs coming in the future. But thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you download this mod. The CurseForge page is in the description of this video. But anyways, have a great day and peace out.